Welcome, everybody, to 8 o'clock spot. Still filling in for Bryson Carver so many months later. It's Alfred Parsard Jr. here on the Gryd Network, where we have our weekly sports debate game show. Introducing the contestants, introducing first the man on the left, Mr. Paris. How you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. I'm ready for this NBA playoffs for my Pacers. That's what I'm looking forward to right now.
I feel bad for you because it may not last that long. But
okay.
Okay. I'm just messing with you, bro. Our next panelist, the Mr. 8 o'clock spot himself, the current points leader for this season by a large margin, Mr. Arthur Hurst.
What's going on? How are we doing this evening?
Good. Glad to have you. And joining the show for the first time, we have Kieran here. Kieran, say hello to the people and introduce yourself.
What's going on, guys? Happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to talking some ball tonight.
All righty. And just to go over the all-time leaderboard, there you see on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, the all-time points leaderboard. Arthur Hurst in first, 341 lifetime points. And then second is Paris Brown by a large margin, 174. And the list goes so on and so on. The rules for the 8 o'clock spot, for those of you tuning in for the first time, we have 4 rounds. The best take gets 5 points, second best take 3 points, and the third best take gets a single point. All right, and the first topic on today's 8 o'clock spot, made popular by this weekend's New York Yankees series against the Milwaukee Brewers, the use of torpedo bats, where the barrel is increased while the knobs and the top of the bat have been slimmed down. Some people say it gives the players an advantage. Some people say there's no difference. But the Yankees mashed all those home runs this weekend against the Brewers. Some say it was the Brewers' lack of good pitching. Other people say it was the bats, even though Aaron Judge himself did not use any of them. So, Kieran, since you're new, we'll start with you. Should the torpedo bats be banned, and do you think it's advantageous for the players to use?
As a Mets fan, seeing as the Yankees are spearheading this, on the hater side, I'm having a tough time understanding how these are legal. They're said to not have gone over the width exception of the bat, but a lot of pictures that I've seen, they definitely look bigger. But there's something else though I feel like that the Yankees have been doing this year that not a lot of people are really talking about, and you only really have 4 games of data to look at it, but one of the things that the Yankees have done a lot differently is their bat speed has also improved with these guys who are doing it. Austin Wells, Anthony Volpe, Jazz, and Bellinger have all seen at least 1 to 2 mile an hour increase on their bat speed. And I think that might have something to do with the way the bat is shaped. But on the other side, I think they got to be careful because there's a lot of reports coming out. I think it was today that they were coming out. Stanton was using this bat last year, and I think during the playoffs specifically when he was absolutely mashing, that's when he was using this bat. So I don't really see how it couldn't be a relation to his tennis elbow, or tennis elbows, I should say, in both of his elbows, which I feel like that's not something we see. It's obviously happened before, but to this kind of extent, I feel like we haven't really seen it before. So I feel like the shape of the bat could also have an effect on that as well if they're really forcing bat speed. And so I don't know. It's only obviously 4 games this year, so it's tough to get a true analytic side of it. But if it's going to create more exciting moments, more big hits, even for the casual, more home runs. I mean, if it's going to be legal and if it's within the rule books, then I don't know. I don't see why it shouldn't be allowed.
Okay. Paris, you're a Red Sox fan. Rafi Devers can't seem to make contact with the ball to save his life. Are you for or against the torpedo bats? Should they ban them, or do you think there's an advantage to it?
I am not for them at all. Now, the thing is, you can't say it's not an advantage. The point of the bat is to make more contact. That was the whole point of making that type of bat. So the reason for making that bat is to make more contact with the ball. So that's obviously the bats are made to help the players. I would say that the evidence is limited, so you can't go too far on it. I mean, it is just 3 games. I mean, if you look at Rafael Devers in 3 games, he might be the worst player you've ever seen in MLB history. He looks awful. So you really can't go off of 3 games. But I will say, in those 3 games, they hit 15 home runs. 9 of those 15 home runs were the people who used those bats. And you can really say 9 of the 12 home runs because 3 of them are from Aaron Judge. So you kind of just take Aaron Judge out of the equation. He's going to do his thing. He's not even using a torpedo bat. So, I mean, Aaron Judge is going to be Aaron Judge. Nestor Cortez can't pitch. The Brewers can't pitch. They went to the Royals and got beat up by the Royals. So, I mean, they can't pitch. But when 9 out of 12 of your home runs are coming from people who are using those bats, it's like, okay, there's kind of obviously a correlation right there. I will say again, in 3 games, you can't immediately say, we have to get rid of them, but I don't like them at all. They are made to make hitters be better at hitting the ball. That's the whole point. And I just also don't like the players type. Some players aren't saying this, but like definitely Ryan Jeffers, he's big on this bat. And he's big on talking about, well, pitchers are always making new pitches. Why can't we get new bats? Okay, that's different. Getting new bats and making new pitches. Making new pitches, that's perfecting your game. That's the player itself getting different grip, learning how to throw a ball differently. He's not changing the shape of the ball to fit how he wants to throw the ball. That's 2 different things right there, okay? And the MLB, they hate to market things, but I feel like the commissioner doesn't know how to market games unless balls are being hit home runs. I feel like he thinks the only way people are going to watch the game is if people are hitting home runs. And yes, people like home runs, but people who like the sport of baseball, they want to see good pitching. They want to see good fielding. They want to see it all. It's not all about just hitting. And, if these batters weren't going up trying to hit 500-foot home runs every single at-bat, we wouldn't see the strikeout rate so high as it is. Yes, pitchers have gotten better, but when you're swinging for the fences every single pitch, yes, you're going to have more strikeouts, and that's been the trend. So really batters, if you don't want to strike out so much, stop trying to crush the ball and start trying to make more contact instead of power swinging every single swing.
Okay. And Arthur, your take on this whole torpedo bat issue. You think there's unnecessary outrage, or you think it's warranted to use in the game?
I think I believe it's definitely understandable as to why there's so much outrage. Mainly the fact because it's the freaking Yankees, and why not get mad at the Yankees for another freaking reason, right? Especially on game day. But Giancarlo Stanton, my fault. Last season he had some injuries, right? That he didn't want to fully disclose, but he said it was because of bad adjustments. That's as far as he went. He didn't say anything more about it. Then you fast forward to this year, you got what the Yankees did, but then El De La Cruz, he went out and he had a really good game with the torpedo bat. And he said, you know what? I like the feel of it. And there are plenty of other players who have used the bat who have said, it may not feel like, a whole lot has changed, or you may not have a whole lot more to work with, but it feels like a very good bat. And, again, like other people said, Paris just said it, pitching has changed. Why can't batting change? Now, I get you're talking about technique. Wow. You're talking about techniques, right? You're talking about the art of hitting. You're talking about the craft. You know what I'm saying? But if these guys see it as a way of making their job easier, right? Yeah, casual fans aren't, the best people to try to impress, but a lot of people right now are casual fans in many subjects, and baseball is one of them. And a lot of people want to see home runs. Heck, again, 15 home runs out of your 20 scores. Out of your 20 runs, like, come on now, man. And 3 of them again from Aaron Judge, but that's Aaron Judge. But the other 9, like, yeah, sure, the Brewers had a rough pitching day, but you got to also credit to the offense and the hitters of the Yankees. So, again, I understand the outrage. I get that it's warranted, especially it's going to be enforced by the fact that it is the Yankees, but this is legal by the MLB. Just hop on the wagon. Yeah, there's little evidence, but if the evidence continues to stack up and say that this is a positive, then you're going to see a lot more teams say, you know what? Why not us? Why not we do it?
Okay, fair enough. No comments in the comment section yet. I got to give the best take to Paris. It's interesting you bring up 2 things, Paris, that I found compelling in your argument. Number one is the quote that said, pitchers make new pitches, but why can't we have new bats? Again, you're arguing how you're throwing the ball versus the instrument to hit the ball. 2 completely different things, as well as also what you said. You have 12 homers in a game, and 9 and 3, excluding 3, really 15, but excluding 3 because one guy hit 3 who didn't use that bat. So it's very telling when 9 out of your 12 home runs all come off of torpedo bats. So I got to give you that there. Kieran, I'm going to give you second best take because again, who knows that double elbow, you never see double elbow injuries ever. You usually see one guy, he's got one elbow, he's out, but 2 at the same time, that's the first time I've ever heard of that. And I've been watching baseball my whole life. So torpedo bats may have caused his injury issue since he used it in the World Series. And Arthur, we're going to go ahead and get you the 1 point. Moving on to the NBA, in probably the most shocking news of the weekend in the NBA, the Memphis Grizzlies, with 9 games to go before the playoffs, mind you, they comfortably had a playoff spot settled in at 5th. They have let go of Taylor Jenkins, the head coach. Do you think that this was the right move? And not only the right move, but do you think that the Grizzlies should have waited to see how far he could have got the team in the playoffs before they let him go? Arthur, we'll start with you.
At the beginning, I said yes, right? It's so late into the season. There's so few games left. You give him the grace of being able to finish out the season and seeing where this team could go. But when you look at reports, when you listen to how the players were feeling, when you listen to how the front office were feeling, it sounds like this was inevitable. And instead of trying to get this, out of the way during the offseason, the best time is just do it now. The way that the players are being utilized on the team, none of them really agree with. At the beginning of the year, you have 5 of the assistant coaches who were there under Jenkins, since the beginning of his tenure, being fired for 2 new assistant coaches to implement new game plans, which is something that a whole lot of NBA players don't really like to do. They have the way that they like to play. They have their coach, right? They have their game play and their game plans and things of that nature, and the way they run their offenses and their defense. And taking on something new, like, why am I messing up something that isn't broke? Why, if it ain't broke, why fix it? And Memphis, they're not really a broken team or organization. Injuries have plagued them. Being in the media for the wrong things has plagued them, right? Those are the things that they've had to worry about. The style of play, those haven't really been the issues. They're a very fun team to watch them get up and down with their hitting from the 3. That emphasizes a lot better. Defensively, Jaren Jackson is always going to be in the defensive player of the year discussions. He just has to get better of not fouling. Other than that, like, why let Taylor Jenkins go unless this was something that was brewing since what it looks like the beginning of the year? And so I believe it was the best thing because now you give a chance to have the offseason to see who you want as your coach, or if you want to bring one of your 2 assistants over as the head coach that you brought over from Paris and things of that nature, then you can do that. And now you give them the whole summer with this team to say, look, this is the type of offense and defense we want to run. If you guys aren't with it, then, that's on you. But I understand the firing now with all the reports coming out than I did at the beginning. I still believe, though, that he should have gotten grace and the respect enough to finish out the season because the team loves him. The city loves him, but I get it. Your players and the urgency that the front office is right now having, that means a whole lot more than the respect and grace giving to a coach who's been there for 6 years.
Okay. Paris, you think they should have gave Taylor Jenkins a chance in the postseason to see what he could have done, considering they had no chance to be anything below a regular playoff team? So your thoughts?
I definitely think they should have gave him the chance to do the playoff run. I mean, he's the coach that got the team here. What's the point in firing him 9 games before the playoffs? I mean, just let it right out. I get, as he said, it's about, he wants to do it now. It's about winning now. I understand that. But when has it ever been a good idea, even when you're trying to win now, to change coaching staff sometime in the season? Not even just sometime in the season now, but at the very end of the season to change coaching staff? That's never a good idea. And the fact that he's the most winningest coach in the team's history, and they get rid of him before he can coach the playoff run, to me, that makes no sense. I can understand it if they want to get rid of him after the season. Definitely if it doesn't work, they get out in the first round. I understand. But For them to be comfortably in a playoff spot and you get rid of him right before it starts, that makes no sense to me. And looking at it, because I didn't understand why they fired him in the first place, and this whole bringing in new coaches and then making him get rid of 5 of his assistants that he's been coaching with the entire time, like, that's kind of a setup for failure. For him to read into it, he didn't even get to interview these people they brought in. They brought in 2 new people that he didn't even get to talk to, and made him fire 5 of his own people because they wanted to bring in 2 new people and we're going to pay him so much money. So for him just to have to work with that, he doesn't even know those people. He has to get rid of his own people. That already puts him in a bad spot. The fact that he stayed says a lot about how much he cares about the team in general, because most coaches, you're going to get rid of his entire staff to bring in 2 new people. I feel like most coaches are going to leave in that situation, but the fact that he stayed shows he wants to have that team winning. And then not even the fact they bring in this new style, and the style of play they have for this pick and roll doesn't even fit John Morant's play style. And that's their number 1 player is John Morant. And he is one of the worst players off at pick and roll. He's 39th out of 56 point guards in pick and rolls. And his 44% shooting is the second worst out of players, out of pick and rolls. So you bring in a whole new staff, make him get rid of his staff, and then implement a style that doesn't even work for your star player, and then you fire the coach. It's like, what did you want the coach to do in that situation? He did everything you wanted him to do. He stuck with it. He's still doing what you wanted to do, and now you're firing him, even though he's still getting the team to the playoffs. You're going to fire him before you get him to make a playoff run. To me, that makes no sense to me.
Okay, and Kieran, your thoughts?
So I'll preface all this by saying that out of all the 4 major sports, the NBA is without a doubt the one that I follow the least, or realistically hardly at all. To be honest, I'm a big college basketball guy, but besides the point, as like a casual, I guess, as I label myself, just looking at it like from that perspective, firing a coach who is like pretty firmly in the playoffs, I think you said 9 games before the playoffs. To me, that's just asinine. And after doing some research, I learned that this guy's only 40 years old. He was hired as an assistant before he was 30. He was a head coach before he was 35. And this isn't a lot. He's won a playoff series. Not a lot of guys have done that in Memphis. They don't really win too much there. And he's about to have his 3rd winning season in the last 4, potentially 50 wins in the last 4 years. And last year, John Morant played 9 games. So I think that's probably a big reason as to why they didn't do that last year. And he's got 5+ years of head coaching experience with a 500+ record, finished top 10 for coach of the year in half of his career. He was 2nd in 21-22. So I don't follow the league like crazy. I don't see how he's not going to like shoot to the top of a lot of teams like must hire guys. So from that point, I don't understand 1, why you fired him at all, but 2, firing this time, it really makes no sense. I know I heard us talking a little bit about some conflict a little bit, but it is a team run by the general managers and the people up top and the head coach. It's not the NBA is a player league, but they shouldn't be the ones making decisions just because they don't like how a guy is. They're winning. They're pretty good. So the grass might not be always greener is kind of what I'm looking at here. But it kind of just feels like the Grizzlies are a notoriously bad franchise. They've won 5 playoff series in 30 years all time. This just feels like a notoriously bad franchise, just continuing to be notoriously bad and failing to get out of their own way. To me, I don't really understand it. They fired a guy responsible for 20% of their playoff series wins, and he might statistically be the best coach that they've ever had in 30 years. So to me, it's an insane move. And then you throw in the timing, it truly just makes absolutely no sense to me.
Fair enough. I'm gonna go ahead and give the best take to Paris again. You bring up multiple valid points that 5 of his assistants got fired and got replaced by guys that he never spoke to until the day they walked in the gym and said, hi, I'm here to show up to work. So in most places when they clean house, if a bunch of your guys have been thrown off the ship, you're going to get off the ship too, sometimes voluntarily before they let you go. And again, like you said, Barris, even the coaching scheme he was forced to run, Taylor Jenkins forcing to it doesn't match his star players' play style. So even that implemented from the GM, which is weird because you pay coaches to coach and run plays. So that didn't make any sense. I'm going to give second best take to Arthur. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling, but then at the end of the day, like you said, sports is a business. They want to win now, even though I don't understand how, winning now is gonna equate to a coaching change for the playoffs. That's gonna mess up chemistry unless one of the assistants gets brought up. And then Kieran, you make some valid points. The guy is the best coach the franchise has ever had. So it's really a confusing situation down in Memphis. If the playoffs started today, they would play the Lakers, who have been on a losing streak of their own. So that series could go either way of who would get out in the first round. Moving on to the National Football League. The NFL owners have put together a petition in a meeting where they are trying to ban the Tush Push. As per the NFL Board of Governors, if they can get 24 votes, that's 24 NFL owners, to say this play should be outlawed, then it will be outlawed. Right now, they have 16 out of the 24 votes. My question to the panelists, do you think the Tush Push is a cheese? Do you think that play should be outlawed and no longer legal? And do you think the owners can get 8 more teams to jump on board? Of course, the 16 teams that have signed up so far haven't been revealed. They are still anonymous to the public. I'll start with you, Arthur. Tush Push, you think they'll get it banned? Do you want it banned? Yes or no? And why?
I'll be quick with this one because I think this is a very, very idiotic topic. It has been an idiotic topic ever since the Philadelphia Eagles started doing it. Dude, it is not their fault they have one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant offensive line of football. It's not their fault that they have one of the biggest, strongest quarterbacks in all of football. It's not their fault that they just know how to really get it done in the trenches on the goal line to get a touchdown. It's not their fault that defenses haven't been able to figure out a way to stop it. It's not why are you penalizing the team that's doing something nobody else has the ability to do? They probably don't have the roster. They don't have the offensive lineman. They don't have the quarterback, but you want to penalize somebody because they're so great at doing something that everybody else is not doing, or their defenses are not able to stop. Plus, everybody is talking about player safety, but y'all are wanting to put in an 18th game. So how does that factor in player safety? That's what they just changed it to 17 games. So now you want to change it to 18. Yeah, you're going to give them probably an additional breaker, whatever, but still, like, we're talking about player safety. So you're not worried about player safety when it comes to adding on this 18th game, which is going to bring in a lot more money for the NFL. But you're worried about player safety when it comes to the Tush Push and the only team in the Philadelphia Eagles being able to dominate whatever defense in the trenches in a goal line stand to get a touchdown with Jalen Hurts. It's idiotic to me. It's dumb. If you're not able to, Lane Johnson talked about it. They're not able to do it, and everybody is just mad. And that's my same sentiment. The Tush Push has always been fine to me. If you can't stop it, then get over it.
Okay, Kieran, your thoughts on this whole trying to ban the Tush Push?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are almost identical. But first of all, I don't think this is something that we are going to see banned this year anyway. It just keeps seeming like it's going to be pushed off and pushed off and pushed off. And needing 8 more guys too in whatever span of time they have with the draft and a bunch of other stuff throughout NFL offseason happening, it's going to be tough, I feel like, for that to happen. But I'd be shocked if it does. It doesn't appear that there's any injury connection to the play. It doesn't appear that every team can just run it without being. The Bills were embarrassing in the conference championship against the Chiefs, trying to run this play. That it literally lost them the game. Their inability to run this play. And listen, I don't like the Eagles. I don't like to give them props for anything and their fan base, but this is a copycat league. The NFL. It has been forever. It's going to continue to be a copycat league forever. And if teams are just physically unable to, copy what other teams are doing successfully, I guess that now they're sending a message that you can push for it to be banned. I don't know if we'll see a situation similar to this, nor if we have before and what's happened to it. But down the road and eventually, I can definitely see 8 more owners getting on board with it, not before the year starts, though. And then I think because of all this chatter happening in the offseason, the Eagles are going to just shove it down everyone's throat with this play so much next year. And then at 31 of the 32 owners are going to be like, all right, enough is enough, which, again, I don't necessarily think is right, but that's what I think will happen. So,
okay. And Paris, last but not least.
I don't think it'll ever get banned. It's one of those, is the play boring to watch? Yes. Do you know it's coming? Yes. But when only one team is good at it, there's no reason to ban it. If it was a thing, like they said, if it was a thing where every team could run it, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, something like that, and it's like a guaranteed first down for them, then yes, okay, we probably should ban this play. It's way too easy. But when you have one team that's good at it and nobody else can do it the way they do it, they just have the personnel to do it. It's not like this play is going to last forever. I mean, at some point, these players are going to get old. Some of these players are going to leave. Jalen Hurts is going to leave, or Jalen Hurts is going to get old, and then they won't be able to do it. But with the personnel that they have and the team that they have, the play just works perfectly for them. We see other teams try and do it, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But when the Eagles do it, they're just very good at it, and it works every time. And is it very annoying? Yes. And if you're a team facing it, is it very annoying to see? Yes. But you can't get mad at a team that learns how to do something and is good at it. That's kind of the whole point. If they find something they're good at, they're going to do it. And yes, we don't know teams that are banning it, but we know one team that wants to ban, which is the Packers, because they come out and said a lot of things about wanting to get banned. But you know what they also said? They're not interested in signing D linemen this offseason. So the one position that can stop the tush push, you're not interested in signing, but you'd want to ban the tush push. So you're just mad you can't stop it. You don't even want to try to stop it. You just want to get rid of it. That makes no sense. I mean, you got to think back like 2009, 2008 when the Dolphins sucked and they brought in that Wildcat offense and that dominated the Patriots that one game. People thought this is going to take over. Year or two later, you don't see that anymore. You know, it worked for the moment, and then the personnel change, the coaching change, and now, you know, teams can run it off and on. You still see it, but it's not like a play that took over the league, but it did work for that team. That's kind of what the Eagles have right now. They have a play that works very well for that team. Give it some years, they lose some of these players get old, you're going to stop seeing the play as often. But right now, it's just a good play for them. And, you know, hats off for them for figuring out that it works. But should it be banned? No, and I don't think they'll be able to get it banned.
Okay, very compelling arguments. I got to give the best take to Arthur. Arthur, I agree with you. It's nobody's fault that the Eagles have the offensive line to do it, and nobody can stop it. It's nobody's fault that they have the quarterback who just every time he goes for a tush push is going to either be a conversion or a touchdown. And like you said, the defense's job is to stop the offense. So if you can't do that, then what do you have? Second best take, I'm going to give it to Kieran. I do like what you said in terms of we've seen other teams, i.e. the Bills in the conference championship game, running the play, and that's what cost them the game because they weren't able to execute. And I do also feel your sentiment about, well, if only one team in the league could do it, all the other owners out of jealousy or spite might just say, all right, let's go ahead and ban the darn thing. So I get that. And then Paris, I got you with the third best take there. Staying in the NFL, the 49ers have come out and publicly said that they have been cheap in free agency and have let go of 17 players by either trade or release because they're going to pay Brock Purdy. Do you have an issue with them admitting this? Yes or no? And why? And is this a public relations nightmare? And if you are a 49ers fan, would this upset you to hear this news? We'll start with Paris.
I mean, that just comes with getting a good quarterback. The 49ers landed in the right spot where they were able to sign so many good players, and they drafted a QB so low so he wasn't making good money, and he ended up being a great QB. The odds of that happening aren't high, but when that does happen, that's kind of like your ideal situation because you don't have to pay your QB, so then you can go out and sign a ton of players. You can sign really whoever you want because you don't have to pay that QB. But there comes a time where at some point that QB needs money. And as we've seen, the sooner you can sign a good player, the better, because the longer you wait, the more you're going to have to end up paying him. And it's coming to that time where Brock Purdy needs that money. You can debate how much money Brock Purdy deserves or not. But I mean, 3 seasons, two NFC championships, and 1 Super Bowl appearance. He's winning games, okay? He's a winning QB. He needs the money. And when you have to pay somebody, you have to let people go. They had their Super Bowl window. They had all types of star players. You can't keep that forever. And if it gets to the point they got to start paying people, you got to let people go. You even if that's not what you want to hear, that's the reality of the situation. You have to sign players. You got to let people go. Look what the Bengals are at. They have 3 All-Stars on the team, but they can't afford anybody else. And even though the GM hasn't said it, you know the reason. No, they can't afford anybody because Burrow, Chase, and Higgins have all the money. That's kind of how that works. The 49ers are getting that situation. They had the situation, QB wasn't getting paid. They could sign whoever they want. But now the QB needs to get paid. You can't have 8, 9, 10 All-Stars on your team. You can have a couple, but at some point you have to get rid of them to make money. And that's kind of what they're doing. 17 is 17 extreme? Yes. But when you have a Fred Warner, a Dre Greenlaw, a Javarius Ward, Hufanga, Debo, McCaffrey, Kittle, Purdy, you can't keep all of them unless all of them want to take very small contracts. People are going to want their money. You can't pay every single person. The GM has come out and basically said that, you can't pay everybody. I got to pay the QB, so I got to let people go. Is that what you want to hear? No, not necessarily. That's not what you want to hear. But in the end of the day, that's reality, and that's what they have to do.
Okay. Arthur, your opinion.
It's like Paris said, this is what happens when you have a guy who's been playing very, very well for you. He's going to be a future, and the quarterback is going to get taken care of. That's law. If he's your future and he's playing well, it is law to give that quarterback another contract, one that is going to make him very, very well. He's going to be fine. And this is going to be a significant upgrade in money for Brock Purdy. You can't keep everybody. Would have loved to see Deebo Samuel stay. You can't keep him. Javarius Ward, it would have been nice to see him stay. Can't keep him. Dre Greenlaw, Jordan Mason. It would have been nice to see all these guys stay, to be able to try to run it back, to see if the 49ers can finally get back there and crack it. But you got to pay somebody. And you got to pay your young starting QB, Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy. Brandon Ayuk, he's looking to get paid as well, right? Even though he's had some injury issues, especially last year. George Kittle had issues last year as well. But at the end of the day, somebody's got to get paid, and it's going to be your last pick, the last pick of the NFL draft that you guys took up. It's not, again, it's not their fault that he grew, he got better, and a lot of people have said it's because of the roster that was built around him. We'll see if it's truly because of guys like Deebo Samuel, of having guys like, Brandon Ayuk, who is going to be in a much bigger role with Deebo Samuel not being there. George Kittle, his role has basically always been the same, but he's going to have to get better. He's going to be playing a bigger role, and he's going to have to stay healthy. Christian McCaffrey is going to do what Christian McCaffrey does. So, but it's all going to come back to, can Brock Purdy take us to the promised land? Can he get us back there to the Super Bowl? Can we, be great again? Can we get out of this, funk that we've been in the last few years ever since we got to the Super Bowl? Can we open our Super Bowl window back up? All of that depends on Mr. Irrelevant. And we'll see at the end of all this if paying him was the right thing, or if keeping guys like Deebo Samuel and trying to keep others was the right thing.
All right, and Kieran, last but not least.
To me, this is honestly like it's a nothing burger. Other than like spoiled fans who really just don't understand roster construction. Like the roster has 6 all pro players that they are paying all pro money to. Like I don't really know like where these people think all the money like comes from. But like if you have these players and you're paying all of them, like I'm not sure what the fans want. They're paying premium players, premium prices. Money's not unlimited. That I guess now they're saying that the roster doesn't appear loaded anymore, but in my opinion, like the team is still good. I understand they were 6-11 last year, but they still have quite a bit of star power. They were brutalized by injuries last year, like a ridiculous, absurd amount. And every team deals with them, but they were honestly like kind of the exception to the rule a little bit. In my opinion, that front office has done enough and more than enough over the last like half decade at least to gain the trust of that fan base. But like I guess they expect nothing but the best. They've gone to, if it's not for Pat Mahomes, they have 2 rings in the past 5 years, and it's tough to do better than that at this point. So I will say in regards to their like PR side, all this coming out and all this, it's really, really bad timing for them with the draft in the end of the month now, or in 4 weeks, 3.5 weeks. So they got to crush the draft. If you're going to have a free agency like this where you're letting this many guys go, you've got to absolutely crush the draft. So like in regards to PR on that side, it's going to be a nightmare because these guys don't go on the field until September. So that's going to be 5 months of potential hell for that PR. But I think they're going to be fine. And again, if I'm a fan of this team, I think the fans are just being a little bit ridiculous right now. You should be very happy with where your team is at. I obviously understand the disappointment in how your team did last year, but you got six All-Pros at very good positions, plus the quarterback as well, who you and the fan base and the front office and a lot of people within the organization and outside the organization seem to believe in. If you now have to pay him as well, that'd be 7 guys making a lot of money at least. It's just tough to keep all that together. So,
okay. Best take, and moving on to the final round is gonna be Mr. Paris. Definitely agree with everything that you said. When the quarterback is playing well, even though they got him in the 7th round in the last pick of the draft, he's taking care of them, so they got to take care of him. There's no question there. Arthur, you had the second best take until Kieran mentioned the roster buildup of the 49ers. A lot of people that I've seen on social media are complaining that the Niners are gutting the team, but you still have 6 all-pro level players on the roster. So you can't say you're gutting the team when you still have pieces to be competitive. And of course, Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle are not going anywhere either. But Arthur, you're going to the final round too, as we have a tie for second place, but very valid points. So everybody is going to the final round. Final round rules. One topic. There's only points for the best take. 10 points to the best take, none to everybody else. This is everybody's game to win here. And seeing how it is April 1st today, I want to know, what is the greatest April Fools, whether it's a joke or a prank, that you've ever seen? Arthur, I'll start with you first.
I think for me, it's always got to be the Mark Cuban quote unquote fight with the NBA referee. It's always got to be that for me. When you know that when you have owners, right? He's not an owner anymore, but when you have owners and guys like Mark Cuban who are not, they're passionate about basketball, right? They're passionate about their team, right? It's the same thing with Ballmer with the Clippers. Like, he's very passionate about his team. It's not just a job. He loves owning the team. He loves making sure the fans have what they need, the players and stuff like that. Mark Cuban was that same exact way when it came to the Dallas Mavericks. Heck, he still is. He can't stop talking about the fact that it was idiotic for them to let Dallas go. But anyways, when you talk about somebody that's as passionate and just loves the game like Mark Cuban does, and he loves his team, it was funny to go back and forth with the referee. You screaming back and forth with him. That's something that's going to happen between the owners, right? Again, especially with the ones that are heavily invested. But when the push happened, it's just like, wait a second, like, this is weird. Like, this doesn't happen. And then the referee pushes him back. Then that's where it's like, oh, okay, so is this real? And then you see them like tussle, whatever, but you don't see that even the tussle looked a little bit questionable, right? But it was just still a funny thing, because something that definitely does happen in the league, where 2 people, especially competitive in the organization, the referees or whatever, are going back and forth. They end up deciding to get a little physical with each other, even though it wasn't all that physical. And it was a great enjoyment also because the fans got into it, right? They got in on the joke. They made it a bigger, they made it look bigger than what it actually was. All the things was perfect to make that April Fool's prank look, iconic and memorable.
Okay. Paris, best April Fool's joke or prank you've seen in sports?
I've seen it in sports. Honestly, I don't even know if I really pay attention. I don't pay attention to April Fools. I'm not gonna lie. So this didn't happen on April Fools, but just what I thought was funny, and seeing it was that Nets Bucks series with Katie's mom on the side yelling at PJ Tucker the entire series, or definitely in the game when he was pushing him the entire time, and she's just yelling at him, talking about this is not football. What are you doing? Why are you being so rough? But it was all love. But the fact she's on the sideline just yelling at the player, it was just hilarious to see because she might have been more into it than any other fan. She was into it, and she was serious, but she wasn't serious at the same time. And that's kind of the line, don't push it, don't say nothing crazy, but if you're into it, that's your son. And as a fan, hey, you can, as long as you don't go across that line, you can say whatever you want. And obviously have a good connection. And the fact that she's just yelling at him, telling him that he's playing football and he's out there doing stupid stuff, it's just fun to see.
Okay. By the way, side note, Kevin Durant has the most annoying mom in all the history of sports moms, in my opinion. Kieran, best April Fool's joke or prank you've seen in sports history?
All right, so I know this didn't happen on April Fool's, I don't think, but it happened in the month of April, I think, so close enough. And again, as I started this with being a Mets fan, it hurts me to give these guys credit, but the John Kruk joke on Chase Utley back in 2003,
yes,
when they called Utley up, launched a grand slam, first hit ever as a major leaguer, coolest feeling ever. They beat I forget who it was, so long ago, right? And then the next day, Kruk brings Utley into the office. He goes, "Yeah, I'm a 10+ year major leaguer. I'm a member of the rules committee, and we failed to submit the paperwork in time to call you up. So you got to forfeit any games that he's played." And the look on Chase Utley's face, who I really don't like as a Met fan, that should be pretty obvious, is all time. So I'd say that probably is the top of the list for me.
R.I.P. Ruben Tejada's shin. But before I give the points to the winner, there's two that stick out the most, in my opinion. Number one, I'm a Mets fan too. The whole Sid Finch thing, where the Mets one spring training, they're like, "Yeah, we got this new guy. He's going to mash." And they made up this whole thing in Sports Illustrated and had a whole article written. And come to find out, the player didn't even exist. He's not a real guy. That's number one. And number two, I'm really going to show my age here. Back in 1997, the Knicks, and this is before social media, so it can't be done today, but they had Clyde Frazier shoot around with the team and running suicides. They filmed it, and he was in warm-up Knicks gear, and they said he was coming out of retirement. To the point that when he was doing games with Mike Breen at the time, Mike Breen was like, "I didn't find out till they put out the press release." They fooled everybody. So that's classic. All right, so the winner is going to be Mr. Arthur Smith. Let me update you. Arthur, I got to give it to you because for Mark Cuban to stage a fight with a referee and everybody caught that hook, line, and sinker. That's going to be classic. And that did happen on April Fool's Day. So I got to give that one to you. Your victory speech, sir.
Hey, man, let's just keep the wins going. That's all I got to say.
All right. Well, congratulations to Arthur and good debating with everybody in the field. Folks, 8 o'clock spot every single Tuesday here on the Gryd Network YouTube. Thank you to Paris and thank you to Kieran for filling in. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday with another panel. All righty.